Welcome to the Commonplace. If you're a visitor here today, we are grateful that you decided to come and worship with us. And if you could fill out a connection card and put that in the offering box or in the basket on the way out, that would be great. A couple of announcements for you. One of those is that me and my family are going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks. During that time, if you have pastoral needs or any kind of emergencies, our elders' contact information has been listed in the bulletin, so feel free to reach out to any of them, and they'll be able to take care of you. I'll be back at the end of the month. Also, by God's grace, we've been trying to raise enough funds for the coffee roaster, and on Monday, I think it was, some donor gave $4,500, lent $4,500, which was just enough to take us over the top. So we've been fully funded for the roaster. So the coffee roaster will be arriving in mid to late August, so we're pretty excited about that as well. July 31st is our night of prayer here at the Commonplace, and we are still in need of someone to watch the kiddos. If you are interested in that, it's a paying hour and a half. Talk to Shelby tonight. And I've got a college ministry announcement, so let me kind of walk through this. For those of you who maybe have been just kind of new to worshiping with us in the last year or so, 15 months ago, our college pastor, Sam, and his family moved away to go help start a church in Tennessee. And at the time, we anticipated finding a replacement for them pretty swiftly. We partner, the way in which we find and source, if you want to call it that, source college pastors, is we partner with an organization called the Coalition of Christian Outreach, the CCO. They're based out of Pittsburgh. They train college ministers, they do a wonderful job, and they provide support to them. They also, college ministers with the CCO, fundraise a significant portion of their salary. So our church didn't have the funds to fully support our college minister, which makes it a little more challenging to find a replacement, all right? It's not like we can just post and our pool is a little more narrow. You have to find someone who's able to do the fundraising component. And so if you were remembering, it was in spring of last year, we interviewed 2 candidates. We made an offer to one of them, and then she turned us down. So that brought us into an entire spring and then fall and then spring semester without a college minister. And during that season, I was pleased because of a couple of things. One is it became very apparent to me early on that I could not handle the discipleship load. I was made painfully aware of all that Sam did when he was suddenly gone. And so many of you invited our students into discipleship triads and provided counseling to them and discipled them well. And I was really pleased with how the church body just absorbed much of the college ministry. And I think that was actually really healthy for us and something that we want to continue doing. Sam left us with an existing college ministry made up of student leaders. And so those student leaders continued to meet during the semester. We had a college club, and that was kept alive and active for the last 2 semesters. And so they were determined. And while we didn't have the same momentum as we typically did with a full-time college minister, we survived, and I was grateful for that. And Ronna Hauser, who many of you know, was instrumental in helping to keep our club organized and provided helpful service during that season as well. And so, I was at an elders meeting or a board meeting, and Jeremy was describing, we were talking about how difficult this last year has been, and he said, I think that it's actually helpful for us. He said, it's like we went through a bad breakup, right? And we didn't want to jump back into a relationship right away, get somebody on the rebound. And so we've had over a year now to kind of figure things out, and God worked in our church in that time. And so, so in the spring of this year, we once again interviewed more candidates. Some of you remember Kay Johnson coming. And we offered Kate a job, and she turned us down and took one in Pittsburgh. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if there's something wrong with me. This is like, it's not you, it's me kind of a situation. But yeah, I don't know about that. And so I was really kind of getting frustrated and uncertain of what that meant for our college ministry. I've been keeping an eye on it, and our college ministry impact has decreased, and that bothers me. Anyway, at the last minute, the week after the college semester ended, there was another candidate that emerged. His name was Joe Harkleroad. Some of you remember he and his wife they came to our church. We didn't really introduce them publicly during that time, but they interviewed with us and they got to hear about the vision of our church, and some of you had meals with them. But Joe is new to the CCO. He's has a full-time job, but has been in ministry training for the last few years and is about ready to graduate with his master's in divinity and is looking for a ministry opportunity. And we were very impressed with Joe's testimony and his wife. They had 3 kids. And so we offered Joe the job. But one of the challenges was that there were a lot of things in Joe's life that didn't really line up for him to make the move right now. For one, his wife was just had their 3rd baby. So she was still pregnant when she came here. They needed to sell their home. He still needed to finish his master's program this fall. He could do that online, but it would just be simpler to have that completed. And most significantly, he's new to the CCO as well, and so he had no fundraising background at all. And so it was going to be a pretty huge obstacle for him to try to fundraise in just a matter of months enough money to survive, in addition to what we could support. So it seemed wise to us to say, you know what, Joe, we still think there's a place for you at the Commonplace, but why don't we take a year, allow you to kind of finish those things, and then you can spend some time developing your fundraising base. And so Joe and Holly agreed to that. So we have made an offer. We've hired Joe and Holly for this. They will start in July of 2020. I've got a picture of them up there. Oh, that's the sideways baby. That's the new baby. So anyway, that's Joe, Holly, and their 2 older children. Now, Joe and Holly will be making trips to Lock Haven this coming year. This is going to kind of be a transition year for us. And so they'll get to know some of our student leaders, and they'll get to know the church body, and so that we are well prepared for them when they start. That still didn't leave me all that excited for this coming year, another year without a college ministry leader, but God has provided in a unique way as well. So many of you know Tim and Kate Jackson. Kate's here today. Stand up, Kate. Tim and Kate are college ministers already serving on campus with a ministry called Christian Student Fellowship. Many of our graduates who now come to our church, and many students that already come to the Commonplace, are an important part of that student ministry. And so Tim and Kate have offered to step in for an interim year to kind of help us through this gap, to provide spiritual leadership and some vision, to kind of realign us so that we are in a good and healthy place for when Joe comes next year. And Tim was expected to be here, but his cousin passed away, so he's at a funeral, and he will be back next week. And so that's the